That's it. That's it. We're here. We're live. That's it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and it's another fine hump day eve. Hump day night. Hump day eve would be like Tuesday night, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's hump day night. So welcome. You've made it halfway. If this is your normal 5-day work week, Monday through Friday, then, you know, the rest is looking good. So you got that going for you, and it's snowing here. So I'm still dealing with my seasonal affective disorder. I don't know if it's truly seasonal affective disorder, but it's definitely bums me out. It's just cold. And just snow. It's pretty though, for what it's worth. So I don't know what the weather's like in your part of the world, but I hope it's wonderful and hope you're having an amazing time doing whatever the hell it is you're doing outside of watching the show here tonight. We've got a lot to get to as always. Heidi ho. Never seen somebody type out Heidi ho before. But how you doing, Grateful Owl? Good to see ya. And Chucky Danger's in here. Annie Manuel, Sinfully Wicked, John Stevenson. And I better start up at the top because right off the bat, the first one in the door was Phil Funk tonight. Phil's like, hi, can't wait for the show. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks, Phil. I I know you guys have a good time here and you enjoy it, and I really appreciate that. But it's neat to see, hi, can't wait for the show. Like, wow, really? That's so cool. Thank you. Annie Manuel's here. She came in second. And who else? I've already said hello to a few. I'm here, of course. And it was Annie and Phil for a while, but then Paranormal Paul came in, as did John LaBella, Chucky Danger, and Sinfully Wicked came in, then Vince Sanchez, then who came next? I'm just going through the names, looking for someone new. Then John Stevenson came in. Good to see you, John. And Chad Votaw's in here. How you doing, Chad? Chad's been with me for a long time. Always leaving wonderful messages on the YouTube feed, or on the video on demands on YouTube. So thank you, sir, for that. Vince Sanchez is here. How you doing, Vince? And I'm just looking for any new names that I haven't already said. This is where it gets tricky because I'm just rolling through the chat. I'm not like pulling up the participants list, which is kind of ambiguous. It names drop off and add on to there so fast. Chucky's talking about vitamin D in the chat. That's good. But Aussie Tiger came in. Good to see you, Aussie. Elaine Clifford, Deborah Neighbors is here. Awesome to see all of you guys. Thank you much. SoCal Squatcher came in as well. And Todd is here. How you doing, Todd? Happy Wednesday to you, sir. Thank you so much. And let's see. Codes and Coffee. That's a new name. How you doing, Codes and Coffee? Great to meet you. Thanks for coming in. Unless you're a rebrand to somebody that's already been here, but that's the first time I think I've ever seen that name. So that's cool. It's always neat to see new names pop up, like, more people are finding us. Of course, I love the people that I already do see, but it's always exciting to see new people coming in and checking it out. So thanks for giving us a shot, giving us meaning me and all of the community as well. Jimmy would have been here if he could tonight, but he wasn't able to. He's on the clock tonight, so it's just me. I think that's law enforcement. Oh, really? Codes and, what is it? Codes and what? I forgot the name. Codes and something. Sorry. Codes and Coffee. That does sound like law enforcement. Very cool. Fred Flintstone. Hiya, Fred. There's Fred. Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Thanks for coming in, man. Good to see you. And I guess Barbara Mora came in. Good to see you, Barbara. And I don't know who's over on Rumble. Let me look. I did have it available to see, and now I can't see, but Big D's over there, 1955. Good to see you, Big D. Dag Dog is over there. Justin Goodearth's over there. Good to see you. And Barbara's over there. So we got several people over on Rumble hanging out. So there's chats all over the map, ladies and gentlemen, and you're all welcome to be in whichever platform you choose. We're also streaming on Twitch, so hello to anybody that might be over on Twitch hanging out. Great to see you. If you chat in Twitch, it will show up on the screen here as well, so we will see it. And it'd be great to say hello to you if you're there checking out the show. So, but yeah, we got a lot to get to. Of course, I'm going to get to the news. We always get to the news right off the bat. And then we're going to get into a couple of articles. And then we're going to dive into cryptids, and just wherever the hell we end up, we end up. Again, the shows are not scripted or rehearsed. They are just some possibilities. Flyer Talk, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. And yeah, I mean, I don't always know where we're going to end up on the shows. Of course, we can always sidetrack. If there's questions in the chat you guys want to ask, by all means, please feel free. You guys are my co-host tonight, so just capitalize your message if you would, please, because it makes it easier for me to see. So just do it in all capital letters. It does stick out more. It jumps out like, oh. and I don't know, when I was first getting interneted or interwebbed, always, of course, the capital letters meant yelling. So that's old chat. What the hell's the word I'm looking for? Chat etiquette, I guess. On the old school internet, everything in capitals meant yelling, like, "Aye!" Like you're being loud. And it is visually poignant, so that works. Right off the bat, where is Rachel? That's right. Good point. I have not seen Rachel. I don't know what happened. Hope Rachel's okay. Sending our love to Rachel. I'm sure if she is able to, she will show up. But if not, not anybody can be here every day. But we love that you guys come in as much as you can. So I guess we're going to get to the news right off the bat. What else is going on? Anything? It's been a whiplash kind of day and days, actually. Lots been going on. I did a fantastic interview with a nice couple that I met. They have their own podcast, and when that comes out, I will put the link out. It was a great talk. We had a great talk. We did some real deep dives into a lot of stuff, and it was phenomenal discussion, and they were really neat people. So I'm looking forward to that episode coming out. I do a lot of interviews on other people's shows, and I love doing interviews. I really do. I love getting out and having an opportunity to meet other people and introduce them to both the podcast and these live shows, which if you're new to the show, this is two very different shows. The podcast is very interview or topic based, meaning that I'll talk to somebody and go through their experiences, or I'll be talking to researchers or authors or personalities in the field or any of the number, most often experiencers, but we'll dive into some person's stories or just a general discussion like when I have Matt Knapp on and stuff. Matt and I just kind of cover a blanket of things. So that's the podcast. But these YouTube shows are much more of like a lighthearted variety show. And we have a good time just, having a good time, I guess. So, but we do these live shows on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So if you want to keep coming in and hanging out with us, that's how you do it. Just tune in Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Time or whatever that means for your time zones. I can't pretend to know. But that's when we're doing it. And if you don't catch the live shows, then by all means, just watch the videos when you can. That's fine. I know it's not easy for everyone to spend 2 hours 3 nights a week. So just watch when you can and if you can. And if you can't, that's great. I'm always still humbled when I get messages from people that are part of the community and the regular parts of the community. They'll message, sorry, I couldn't make it. I had such and such a thing going on. And I'm like, I'm always really flattered by that, because it's like, oh, that's really sweet. You don't really owe me an explanation of why you can't be here, but it's really sweet that you feel that you want to give me one. I don't know. That's so wonderful. Thank you guys. So 10 p.m. Eastern Time for me, Sinfully Wicked says, yeah. I saw Mickey G popped in. Good to see you, Mickey G. Thanks for coming in. And Josh Casto came in. Do you see that I pronounced it right now, Josh? Just for the record, everybody calls him Josh Castro. And I was on another show. I think it was Texas Front Porch. I popped on with Tex, and he said, "Oh, Josh Castro," and I had called Josh Castro, but then I looked at the name when I interviewed him for the podcast. I'm like, there's no R in there at all. It's a Casto. I'm like, oops. so yeah, but you're right. Everybody does it. You're right. I saw Tex do it, and I was like, oh, it's not just me. Okay, good. So yep, it's just Casto. But Josh's episode will be coming up, I think, next week. I don't know. I got several episodes to juggle here that I've recorded. So, but I think Josh's is next week. So watch for that next Monday on the podcast. And yes, I will like the break before Christmas at Paranormal Paul. Oh, nice. You got a break before Christmas. The Minions got a whole week break. Hey, Wizard Moon, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. He's off all next week. A little lucky little bastard. But, kids hardly go to school anymore. I swear to God. When I was a kid, we got like one day off a year. Not really, but we didn't get we had the Christmas break and then like a couple days for Thanksgiving, and it was just, it seemed like we were in school a lot more than they are now. But maybe it's just my memory is getting bad. I don't know. All right. I got to quit playing with my phone case. You're hearing that. I'm just slapping I got a phone case like this, and it opens and closes, and I always slap it. Oh, did you see that? That's the bumper sticker. Paranormal Portal. I gave them out at the Vernal Phenomicon conference, and unfortunately mine fell off my car, and I saw it laying there, and so I picked it up. It was still sticky, but for some reason it came off my window, so I just stuck it to my phone case. Did you see it? Did you see it? Did you? There it is. All right. I guess that's about it. So right off the bat, hi, Wizard Moon. We're hand waving right back at you. So, time to drive, lurking mode. All right, Josh, no worries. Keep lurking. You're welcome to lurk. But let's get to the news and find out what's on the newsreel for tonight. I'm going to try to inform you and bring you up to speed on the happenings around the world, and hopefully you find it interesting. So without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. Oh, it's like a retro machine. I feel like I should be in bell bottoms and a leisure suit. The only news I trust, John Stevenson says. God bless you, sir. All right. Well, that's the intro to the news. Will you be at any conventions in New England area? You know, I've been looking at some actually, Phil. I don't know for sure. I'm not solid on any of them, but there's several I'd like to attend. If there's one going on in your area, send me the information at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com or something that's close to you. And I'll definitely take a look at potentially being there. I don't know if I would always have a booth at different conventions because I do have a lot of display stuff and I would have to ship that around to meet me at conventions. It's not impossible that I would do that, but it would just be kind of fun to just throw on my Paranormal Portal shirt and wander around and just see people and just see if anybody recognizes me. I've only been recognized just a handful of times so far. It's crazy. Not that my show's that big anyway, but it has happened. I was actually at my local Walmart. Believe it or not, this is not really news, but it was kind of a fun moment for me because I was at the Walmart with Mrs. Portal and the Minion, and I'm pushing the carts, looking around, and I don't know anybody in this town. I've been here for 10 years and I hardly know anybody. I'm not a real social butterfly, believe it or not. That's a true story. I very much keep to myself. I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm always dialed into this. So I don't get out and socialize a whole bunch. I know a few people, but that's it. So anyway, I was at the store at Walmart and I'm pushing the cart and I'm pushing it along. I'm in the dairy section of Walmart and all of a sudden I hear Brent. And I'm like, there's no way somebody knows me. There's no way. Nobody's ever just known me in this town ever. So I'm just kept walking like he's talking to someone else. And all of a sudden, hey, Paranormal Portal. I turned around. I'm like, what? And it was a gentleman from Montana who had come over because there's no Walmarts in Western Montana. So they come over here to Idaho to our Walmart. And he and I talked and I met his wife and stuff. Really nice guy. But this is actually a couple of years ago or better. And not since then. I've not been recognized since then in my own community, which is funny. But I don't know. It's just kind of humorous. Anyway, maybe it's only humorous to me, but I was blown away that somebody actually knew me. I was like, oh, somebody knew me. So there it is. I don't know. But anyway, this is the news. And as always, please support the sites that we use on this show. These sites are amazing. They do a phenomenal job. And I just want to keep encouraging you guys, please visit these sites. Please visit these sites and support what they're doing. Give them traffic, which equals revenue, which keeps their lights on for them because it's not cheap to run your own website. It's really not, especially if you get significant traffic, which all these sites do. So please stop in and check them out and see what they're doing. Hi, Michelle. Michelle Wilfong. That's a new name. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming in. And unless you're not a new listener, and again, I never know if somebody just changed their name and updated their image or what, but it's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in and giving the show a chance. So I appreciate that. I got discovered, but she had bad memory. I don't know are you talking to me, Fly, or what are you saying? I don't know what that means. I would feel funny calling out in a store. Yeah, Phil. I don't know. I think it's funny. But anyway, let's dive into the news after you guys know to support these sites. I really do mean that. These sites are amazing and they're so well done. And I just want to support the hell out of them because they're doing a hell of a job and it's just amazing. And so we don't want them to go away because I don't think I could find sites as good as these ever again. I've been at this for 8 years now and I love these sites. They're just so well done. So the first amazing site we're going to utilize here on the show is from a site called unexplained-mysteries.com. Now, this comes from the world of bizarre files, and this one, I did actually hear about this one before I pulled it up from there. No one told me you were live tonight. Well, I've only been live every Wednesday night for about the last 8 years. Unknown, you. I love you, brother. I'm just being cheeky, but yeah, I've been doing live Wednesday shows for like ever. So, but no, I'm live. We're live, and it's just starting. You didn't miss much anyway, brother. All right, here we go. From the world of bizarre, this is a bizarre story. Is this paranormal? No, but it sure as hell isn't normal. So, see what you think. Here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com, a phenomenal site. Check them out. Bizarre insurance scam saw fraudsters dress up in a bear costume. Yeah, that's about a 10 on the dumb meter, but let's see how this goes. It said the men had faked a series of bear attacks on luxury vehicles so that they could claim compensation. According to reports, 4 people from Los Angeles have been charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy after conning insurers out of a whopping $141,839. The scam, which has since become known as Operation Bear Claw, they even gave it a cool name. That's so funny. Operation Bear Claw, here you go. Involved having one of the crooks dress up in a bear costume and then filming him attacking a luxury car. The footage was then submitted as evidence that the car had been damaged in a bear attack. The fraudsters pulled the same stunt 3 times with 3 different insurance companies, each time providing evidence of the bear entering the vehicle and damaging the interior. It says insurers became suspicious that something was up when photos of the damage didn't seem genuine. The scam was eventually discovered by the California Department of Insurance when a wildlife biologist was brought in to confirm that the animal was, in fact, a person in a costume, and the footage had been low resolution, grainy, and in black and white to obscure the perpetrator. Confirmation of the con was found in the form of a bear costume in the suspect's home. You can check out the faked insurance footage as part of the local news report below. Well, I can't think of any better way to start the show than to check out this news. Are you guys ready? This is coming from KCAL News YouTube channel. They got 1 million subscribers, so they're definitely got a hell of an audience. So let's see what this is all about.
Well, 3 men say they had their cars broken into in Lake Arrowhead 3 times by one bear, or so they say.
Assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk. And Mike, this was all caught on camera, right?
Yeah, the whole thing was there's security camera video. These 3 men say that the bear did $140,000, a little bit more than that, in damage to their 3 cars over a series of nights. I want to show you that video that was these 3 men then turned into their insurance companies. And you can see the car there, and you can see what they say is a bear rummaging around in the front seat. They have video of 3 different cars, including a Mercedes G-Wagon, this Rolls Royce, and another car as well. And they claim that that's the bear that is inside doing all of that damage. They have video of all 3 of the cars. You'll see this is the second car here. And then this is the damage that they say was done by that bear. You see what appear to be scratch marks, but when they gave all this information to the insurance company thought it looked a little strange. So the California Department of Insurance looked into it, and strange it was. Look at what the California Department of Insurance found. A bear suit. Turns out the California Department of Insurance says the men were dressed up as a bear in this bear suit, climbed into their own cars, and allegedly created the damage. They then tried to pin it on the bear, according to the California Department of Insurance, but their insurance companies weren't buying it. And upon further investigation, this is what they found, that fake bear suit. Now today, the California Department of Insurance says all 3 of those men have been arrested for their role in what they call insurance fraud. And now the California Department of Justice is investigating this. The San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office is prosecuting the case. Guys?
Those bear claws go a lot deeper, don't they?
Yeah,
than what they tried
certainly
to do.
not what I was expecting.
Just
in
some
that
light
story.
damage from the bear. Yeah.
There you go, folks. That's a whole bucket of stupid in the first story. That's their costume. It's so dumb. I just can't even believe it. I mean, that's what they came up with. That was their angle. There was just figuring, and we would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those nosy kids and their stupid dog. I don't know. You deserve to get caught if you're that much of a brick that's what you think is a good idea. Wow, that's just a whole bunch of dumb. There you go. I don't know what you think of that, but I think it's so stupid and it's hilarious. It's so stupid, it's hilarious. So there you go. First story. What more could you want from the news? And you don't hear news like this many other places, so you're going to get this kind of stuff here as much as I can find it. Here's another World of the Bizarre story from the news. Now, again, not paranormal, but definitely not normal. So I guess that makes it paranormal because by definition, paranormal is just that which is not normal. Well, here you go. Here's another bucket of stupid. This comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Woman who heard weird noises had naked man living under her house. Why was he? Wonder why he was naked. Why did he start there? I don't need these clothes. I got a whole house. The woman had initially believed that the mysterious sounds had been produced by some sort of animal. In an unbelievably unnerving story out of L.A., again, Los Angeles, folks, what the hell's going on there? They got to have something in the water or something. A 93-year-old woman who lived in the city's El Sereno neighborhood had been left perplexed by unexplained sounds that could be heard underneath her house during the early hours of the morning. Well, for a time, she and her family believed that the sounds were those of a dog or some sort of wild animal that had either been passing through or had taken up residence in the crawl space underneath. Well, things came to a head when, upon hearing particularly loud and obnoxious noises under the house, they decided to call the police and ask them to investigate who or what was responsible. It was usually late at night, and we just checked it off as animals being under the house, the woman's son-in-law, Ricardo Silva, told reporters at NBC Los Angeles. And the noises were kind of like knocking. It was kind of like as my wife was walking, they were kind of knocking back from under the house. So she says, you know something's wrong. When police arrived at the scene, however, nobody could have expected what they would find. A naked man who had seemingly been living beneath the house for quite some time. Whoa. Things went from bad to worse when the man refused to leave. What? This is my hole. Eventually forcing police officers to use tear gas to remove him from the property. It turned out that the culprit, a 27-year-old, had been there for, 6 months. The family had now taken steps to block off the crawl space to prevent any more unexpected guests. I wonder if they got the footage. I kind of just want.
For weeks, a 93-year-old grandmother living in this El Sereno home had been hearing weird noises.
But it was usually late at night.
From
right?
NBC
and
News.
So we just chalked it off to being animals being under the house, possums, raccoons, whatever, what have you.
But Thursday night, her son-in-law, Ricardo Silva, says the noises got louder.
Just the noises were kind of like knocking. It was kind of like, as my wife was walking, they were kind of knocking back from under the house. So she says, something's wrong.
Yeah, that's not a good way to stay hidden, is to like knock back when somebody walks by, like, oh, I hear you. It's like, yeah, you're begging for it then.
Family members at the home called police. When officers arrived, they made a shocking
They even brought the chopper. They brought the chopper to go look. Oh my God.
discovery. A naked man in the crawl space under the home. Police identified him as 27-year-old Isaac Betancourt.
He refused to leave. He wasn't scared of the dogs. And the first 2 attempts at gas didn't fish him out.
You, underneath 3610 lock, come out with your hands up. We see you.
Betancourt didn't give up easily. After hours of refusing to come out of the crawl space, LAPD says they had to resort to tear gas to get him out. It's unclear how long Betancourt had been underneath the home, but the family suspects he may have been staying for up to 6 months. The crawl space itself is only about 2 feet high and stretches under the entire home with 3 entryways. The family believes he used this one to come and go.
It's a bizarre thing, but it's not probably uncommon. You know, in this day and age, people are looking for shelter.
The family says they'll be securing the crawl space to prevent this from happening ever.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty big opening. I mean, it's not like, geez, he shimmied under a little bit of a lift in the house. That's like a freaking door. So I guess it's strange. It's really weird. And maybe the guy just wasn't in his right mind. Like, I mean, there's people that are psychologically not all there or unbalanced, and maybe that would become a choice. And certainly it could have been just a homeless person like, hey, it's a shelter and I can be here. And my heart goes out if that's the case. But still, that's not the best opportunity there. I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know, so I don't want to be too tongue-in-cheek about it. But my God, really? You just and then you knock back when people are walking over you. That's the part that cracks me up. It's like his version of Marco Polo. Ooh, Polo. Well, got to give him a little credit, I guess. He managed to make it for 6 months, so that's quite a bit of rent he saved. I don't think he probably paid anything to be in their big crawl space. So there you go. Second story tonight. But wait, there's more. I got another one. This one's actually paranormal, supernatural, Fortean, unexplained, all of that stuff. It comes from the UFO files of unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is, I don't know, we actually have footage. I'm just looking ahead here. It looks like it might be actually footage too. All right, well, here you go. From unexplained-mysteries.com comes this story from the UFO files. And it is commercial pilots film UFO dancing around outside of the passenger plane. Ooh, well, that's pretty cool. Let's check this out. The perplexing incident occurred over Egypt during a recent routine flight of a Boeing 747 airliner. They say the pilots make for some of the best witnesses in the UFO phenomena, and this is their latest sighting, which was filmed and uploaded by Captain Ruud van Pongermannen during a routine flight over Egypt. It is certainly one of the most interesting we've seen in a while. The footage, which was recorded around 5 a.m. local time, shows a bright light that seems to dance around outside the cockpit that was observed by several members of the flight crew. The video shows the object appearing, disappearing, and moving around over an extended period of time. We thought the light was a plane, but it wasn't on our radar, the captain said. And then we thought maybe it was a star, but the stars twinkled quickly and the stars didn't move. And he also went on to rule out the possibility that the object was a satellite due to its strange movements. The light of the UFO in front of us moves freely, he noted. The footage, which you can view below, is definitely worth a watch, and unlike many UFO videos these days, it doesn't try to oversell the sighting, but instead offers it up as a fascinating, lighthearted mystery. Please figure it out yourself. Maybe you can identify the object, the captain states. The UFO shows up around 20 minutes 53 on the video. What the hell's the other 20 minutes about? Well, anyway, we'll go to 2053 and look it up. Everything before that is routine activity. What do you think best explains this sighting? I don't know. Let's check it out, though. This is from Captain Ruud van Pongermannen's YouTube page. He's got 270,000 subscribers. My God. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? All right, let's see this. What was it, 2053? Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't give me music. I don't want a copyright strike. Let's go to maybe about 2045. 30 minutes after, we have company. Don't give me music. If I get music, I can get copyright slaps.
Wow. Ooh, very bright now. Wow.
Ah. Wow. I really wish they didn't do the music thing. I'm going to turn off that so I don't get music slaps. It kind of phases in and phases out, it looks like. And this is his shirt reflected. So it's this window's at an angle. So it's not like it's something in the cabin. This is because otherwise it would show up on the side of his shirt, I guess. But I don't really see it bouncing around, though. You guys seeing it bouncing around? I'm not really seeing that as much as I'm seeing the camera wiggling around as someone's holding the phone or whatever they're recording on. So, interesting. I don't know. Oh, is that it now up above? Okay. I guess it is higher, unless they're banking or something. They could have banked the craft for all I know, but it's not really bouncing around, though. I don't know why they explained it that way. Is that two of them, or is that just one? Yeah, that's some reflection there. Or the dash, whatever the hell that is. I don't know. It's certainly not really definitive, but it is unusual. So what is it? Hell, I don't know. Could be a UFO, sure. It could just be swamp gas on Uranus. I don't know. I had to go there. It's kind of a moral imperative that somebody goes there on a UFO story. But there you go. I don't know. I have no idea. It could be. It's not really bouncing around, though. They kind of give it the impression that it's just, up and down and moving, but it looks like it's pretty stationary, whatever it is. Now, it does fade out. It does come back, which is not what stars do generally, unless they're being obscured by clouds, but it looks like a clear sky. So I'm not sure what they saw. That's very unusual. There it goes, but hell, I got no solid answers, that's for sure. So, but a hell of a lot of questions. But anyway, that's the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys thought that was a good use of your time to be here and go through the news with me. Obviously, there's more news stories, but that's what we're going to cover today, and I'll save the others for Friday night and still more for Saturday. So we got to make it stretch for 3 consecutive days, finding good stories and stuff. So I'll give you 3 a night generally, sometimes more. Depends on what I got lined up, but I think we got a lot to get through tonight. So the unknown loved it. Good. Unless you're talking about something else, Paul. No, the giant skeleton. I have no idea what's going on in my chat right now. The newsy news. Great newsy news. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate it. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the rest of the show and see what else I have in store for you. Sometimes I don't even know. So let's find out together. Unknown. That's 10 demerits, unknown. If you don't know my schedule by now after all these years, sir. I had to take a drink, and I have to transfer to my other drink here. My secondary water. I feel real thirsty. Don't want to get parched when I'm doing the shows. It's important to have a wet and supple tongue. It was a little bit flirty, wasn't it? Sorry. It was a cheap shot. I had to take it. We don't know either, Brent. Fair enough, Elaine. We don't all know anything, but well, anyway, how you doing, Chucky? Good to see you. I know I said hello before, but I'm saying it again. Hey, Cal, good to see you. Come in. Good to see you, man. I'm pretty sure it changed. It's never changed. Yeah. unknown. I've been doing the same schedule for literally years. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know. I make sure this. I used to start back in the day when I had different nights. I would start at different times. Like my shows used to be at like 10 p.m. until midnight. Pacific time, which was like 2 till 4 Eastern time, which was really kind of like coast to coast time, I guess. But I decided to make it earlier, and I think I did. That's when I started 7. But I would do, even when I did the 10 p.m. shows, some shows I would do at 7 just because they weren't on my. I used to have to not have to. I used to simulcast on Truth Frequency Radio, and that was my slot, was 10 to midnight. And on the nights that I wasn't also simulcasting on Truth Frequency Radio, then I would start earlier. But I had a fixed slot on the internet radio for a long time. So then when I stopped broadcasting with Truth Frequency Radio, because basically they just kind of stopped doing their station. So it wasn't that I chose to get rid of Truth Frequency. That was where everything started for me. It's a very special place. But then I just moved everything to 7 p.m. rather than having this night it's at 7, that night it's at 10, and having various times. It got confusing. So we always start at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, or 9 p.m. Eastern. So 10 Eastern. God, I went to Central Time in my mind there. I've been doing a lot of Central Time shows, a lot of shows out of Texas lately. So I've been hearing Central Time for the last couple of weeks. But anyway, I love being on other people's shows, like I said, so I enjoy doing that. All right, 9 Central. Yes, sir, 9 Central. Paul says, yes. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, check out Paranormal Paul's YouTube channel. He's another broadcaster. Wonderful gentleman, and he appeared on the portal on the live shows, and we had a great talk. We had a great time when Paranormal Paul was here. So I'm going to make a podcast of that. I still got to do that, but my intention is to do it. It's just I've been doing so many interviews lately, and I have so many videos to do to catch up on the interviews that I'm so far behind. But anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy. YouTube is what? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Paul. Yo holo ho. Ghosties get me scared, and oh, well, don't get scared, yo holo. There's no need to vacate your bowels on this show. It's not usually very scary. We don't do it very scary. You shouldn't make a schedule and post it up. It's Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 7. I don't know. I don't know what more I can do. Even look at the thumbnail on my main YouTube channel. It's right on there. Paranormal Portal live shows Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know what more I need to do. I don't know. That's when they are. Yep. Anyway, and I think I posted it on Rumble too. I think. But anyway, I gotta still post that on Twitch. But it's another thing on my to-do list. All right, we everybody's helping out Yaholo. That's nice, Yaholo. You're getting lots of good health advice here. So hopefully we'll help you with your irritable bowel syndrome when you get scared. Oh my God, Phil, you guys. No, it's not. It's not any other day. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. That's when the shows are happening. Okay. For me, it's Jesus, Mick. Yes, for you it is because you're in Down Under. You're in Oz. Everything's different in Oz. It's the land of magic and Foster's because he's Australian for beer. I always piss off the Australians when I say that. Sorry. It's just it's from way back in the 80s. Crocodile Dundee used to do Foster's beer commercials here in the States. Foster's, it's Australian for beer. All right. Anyway, and of course, every Australian I've ever talked to said Foster's is basically like Joey Piss. I don't know. I'm not really a big beer drinker, so I just like the pale ales and the IPAs and stuff. So, anyway, Paul, Jesus, I don't have a Thursday show. God damn it, you guys! What the hell are you doing to me? You're gonna make me stroke out here. I'm probably having an aneurysm right now, and I don't even know it. Maggie says, aha, literally no one drinks Foster's, but he's Australian for beer. Anyway, I'm riding the hell out of that joke. It's still funny in my head, mostly because I know that most Australians hate Foster's, and that's funny to me. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, shrimp on the Barbie. That's another one. Let's get to another article because we got a lot more to get to throughout the course of the show tonight. I've got a bunch of fantastic articles I pulled up. Which one did I want to read? I don't know about that one. Not really that one. Not that one either. Okay, we're going to go with this one. This one's a new one, and this is from phantomsandmonsters.com. Great show. Thank you, Andromeda. I appreciate that. I'm glad you showed up. That's another new name. There's a lot of new names tonight, guys. I hope you guys, those of you that are new and checking out the show, I hope you go, God, I'd like to hang out here more often. By God, I think I'm going to subscribe. And then I'm going to ring all the bells and click all notifications so that I don't even need a schedule because it's going to ring a bell for me and tell me when this show is live every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. I might have just thrown in that last part just as a reminder. But yeah, please get subscribed, though. It'd be great to see you guys come back and become part of what we're doing. Don't those Aussies make them their beats? Huh? I don't know what that means. My Aussie friend says they make fun of us Americans as well. Yeah, they do. Australians. Let me tell you, I used to do a lot of internet chatting way back in the day. And there was this, I forget the name of the group. It was a chat group, and I can't even remember where. But it was basically a smart-ass chat room, and it's where you just go in and just rip on people or get ripped on and, just back and forth. Oh, thank you, Maggie. Maggie's a white unicorn with rainbow hair. Thank you, Maggie. But I used to go in this chat room and just rip back and forth. It was just hilarious. I used to spend hours in there just rolling because we'd all have each other rolling. It was just so much fun. But they basically did a contest, and it was a huge group. It was basically an international group, and basically after a huge poll, they decided that the Australians were the biggest smartasses on the entire planet. And I gotta agree, they were so hilarious. Oh my God, those guys were cracking me up all the time. Australians have a really quick wit. They're just brilliant, funny. All right, well, and maybe that's a really huge generalization, but the ones I talked to were just hilarious. God, they had my ribs hurting. It was just so funny. I know what you're talking about, Brad. I used to be in one called the Fight Room, and we were on cam. We roasted everyone hardcore. Yeah, I used to love those days. Those are a lot of fun. Yeah, they do. So do the Brits. The C word is a huge thing in England. It's just that just cracks me up too because it's the funniest damn sounding word. Even though it doesn't even really mean it doesn't really mean a female anatomy part anymore. It just means a really stupid person or just a really obtuse person. And so that's what makes it funny. That and tosser. The word tosser just kills me. I'm like, what are they tossing? I don't know, but it cracks me up. I just love international humor. It's awesome. You guys from all over the place are absolutely hilarious. You make my days. All right, well, let's continue. And we're going to dive into an article from Phantoms and Monsters. I said phantoms as if I'm from somewhere else. Phantoms. I guess that's kind of Michigan accent. Going to go check out Phantoms and Monsters. Phantoms and Monsters is Lon Strickler's site. It's an amazing site. And I hope you guys will check it out because there's literally thousands of encounter stories there. People coming face to face with all kinds of strange stuff, whether it's ghosts, whether it's UFOs or cryptids, Mothman, strange phenomena. Lon really covers the whole spectrum over there. And it's fascinating. Now, I do like it as well because Lon's just not blind posting a lot of this stuff. He's actually trying to check in on as much as he can and do some background on several of these stories. So it's not like it's just a blind posting by Lon. He does research this stuff a lot. And I really appreciate that. So when I find stories on Phantoms and Monsters and even things that I'd never heard of before, it gives me a lot of confidence knowing that it's on Phantoms and Monsters and that, you know, I know Lon doesn't just post garbage. You know, he's generally very thoughtful and well researched about all this stuff. So, and again, you can find out more about Lon and his published works on phantomsandmonsters.com, as well as his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And he has a YouTube channel where he does live streams talking about a lot of the articles on his site. So definitely check it out. But anyway, let's get to the story. We're hitting this a little sooner, and I've been doing this lately because we've been covering cryptids on Phantoms and Monsters for a while. And I love how many different cryptid reports Lon carries. But there's also these incredible other stories that I really have never touched on before, but I'm like, wow, we got to definitely talk about some of these. So that's why I've started doing this and hitting this a little bit earlier, because this is not just a one theme site. It's everything. And so I think it's great. So here's the story. Again, phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. And the first story tonight is the house I grew up in, quote, he wants you, unquote. I don't even know what this is, but it sounds absolutely bizarre. So let's read it. And it starts out, as she looked around, she heard a faint voice that started to get stronger. Sitting on the bed, something touched her hair, and then a female voice whispered in her ear, he wants you. Oh, that would be horrendous. That would be a terrible experience. I received the following account. Hi, Lon. I've been reading your blog for a few months, and I'm writing you about personal experiences and would like you to contact me to discuss. You have my permission to publish with a few conditions. I grew up in a large 2-story house in Georgia, and I want to keep the location private. I lived there from the time I was 3 years old until I was in my late 20s. As long as I could remember, I experienced plenty of weird things. Many times I heard my name being called nearby, and at a distance as well as being touched. My family also experienced a variety of strange events. My mother told me that she and my father would hear doors slam downstairs at night, and when they would go and investigate, all the doors were wide open, just as they had left them before they went to bed. One night just before bedtime, my sister and I were in the living room listening to music when I noticed my sister get up from her chair and walk towards the stairs. Suddenly, she started to scream and ran to our mother in the kitchen. Well, I quickly ran after her, and she said that a pale old man was gliding down the stairway. My sister was absolutely terrified, so much so that she urinated on herself and could not stop shaking. Well, not long after this incident, I started to experience strange phenomena. One night, I had a particular dream in which I was standing at the bottom of the stairs next to an elderly man. Well, he was wearing overalls and a blue flannel shirt. His hair and face were very neat, but his skin was very pale gray. He was staring straight ahead and didn't seem to notice that I was standing there. My next impression was standing at the top of the stairs, and when I started to hear footsteps going towards my room door. Suddenly I woke up and realized that I'd been dreaming. But I continued to hear the footsteps getting closer to my bedroom door. I know for a fact that I was awake. I waited for whatever it was that was getting closer to my door to open it. And then suddenly something picked up my long hair and tossed it over my right shoulder. I jumped out of bed, just stared at the bed. And there was a voice calling my name and fading as I heard the same footsteps move away from my bedroom. I went to the door and slowly opened it. There was a terrible stench in the hallway, so I closed the door and went back to bed. A few years later, my boyfriend at the time needed a place to stay, so he moved in with us and slept in my old bedroom. One day I was downstairs in the living room watching TV. My boyfriend, who was in his bedroom, came running downstairs, and he came into the living room and quickly dropped to his knees. As he looked up at me, he appeared to be in shock. His hands then covered his face, and he started to shake violently. And after a few minutes of me prodding him for an explanation, he finally told me that he'd been sitting on the bed watching TV when a young woman with long blonde hair, wearing a white shroud-like dress, appeared and just sat next to him on the bed. He froze and looked at her as she continued to look back and smile. He asked her what she wanted, and she said, "You. He wants you." And then she vanished. I never witnessed anyone so scared before. He grabbed me by the hand and led me the way back up to his room, and I walked into the room first and hoped I wouldn't see a ghost or anything else unusual. He abruptly pulled his belongings out of the drawers, and then threw them in a laundry bag and stormed out of the house. It may sound cliche, but honestly, I never saw him again. A few years later, I moved out of the house and got married, and we currently live in Northwest Ohio. A few months ago, we took a trip back to Georgia and to the old house. My mother still lived there. We decided to stay there for a few days, not expecting any problems. My mother said that she had not experienced any weird activity for those several years after I had moved out. Well, the week seemed to go smoothly. A few days after we returned home, my 8-year-old daughter asked me if someone had died in Grandma's house. I looked back at her and said that I wasn't sure and asked, "Why?" And she said that on the last day of the visit, when we were getting ready to leave, she went upstairs to my old bedroom to get something. And as she was about to walk out of the room, she heard her name being called, when all of a sudden she felt a hard slap on her right leg. She said it hurt so bad that it brought tears to her eyes. Well, she ran down the steps as fast as she could and stayed on the porch until it was time to leave. Last week, I received a telephone call from my mother letting me know that she had decided to sell the house and move in with her friend. And I asked her if I should come back to Georgia and help her pack and move. And she paused a bit. And then she said not to bother. She had already left the house and was going to sell everything in it. I was somewhat surprised by her statement and asked her, why was she doing this? And that's when I found out the real story of the house. When I was 3 years old, we moved into the house. Well, at the time, my parents had little money and needed a cheap place to live. My father's employer had recently placed a house up for sale and just offered it to my parents at a very reasonable price. The employer provided the financing as well. Well, a few days after we moved in, there was a knock at the door. The elderly gentleman introduced himself to my mother and asked if he could look around the house because he had grown up there. Well, she agreed and offered the elderly man a cup of coffee or tea, but he just shook his head. My mother said he walked to the stairway landing, looked up the stairs, stared for a few seconds, and then disappeared. Oh man, she let the guy in. My knees suddenly went weak. My mother never told anyone about the incident and said that she didn't encounter him again until the day after our visit. The night after we had left for home, my mother was in the upstairs hallway about to enter my old bedroom just to do some cleaning. As she grabbed the doorknob, she felt a hard slap on her backside. She flung the door open and stumbled into the bedroom. Well, as she looked around, she heard a faint voice that started to get stronger. Sitting on the bed, something touched her hair, and then a female voice whispered in her ear, "He wants you." She hurried out of the bedroom, into the hallway, and towards the stairs when she noticed the elderly man, smiling and staring back at her. Oof. Within the hour, my mother collected everything she wanted and left the house forever. Yeah, she let that guy in. Can I come in? If anybody ever shows up at your door and says, "I grew up here, can I come in?" No, you may not. Keep the memories, they're yours, but you're not coming in. Yikes, to do his laundry. Yeah, maybe. But maybe so much more than that, Grandizer. That's a creepy story. It is, Maggie. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of paranormal precedents for getting a knock at the door. The one legend is, if you ever get a knock at your door in the dead of night, when you know nobody's not going to be knocking on your door, you can look out. You can turn on the porch light outside and look, but don't answer that door, because a lot of times people open the door, there's nothing there, and then suddenly they start getting activity in their house, like they just let something in. So they say if they're ever going to knock on your door and you look out and nobody's there, don't open the door. Don't do it. Now, also, just for the fact that there's plenty of creepy people out there and they could be trying to lure you to open your door to let them in. But maybe it's not a human at all. Or black-eyed kids. Yeah, good point, Kel. Those are other knocks at the door that occur in the dead of night that are creepy and freaky. So, yeah, it's a great story, though. Great story. That's why I love Phantoms and Monsters. Lon just really has such amazing stories up there. So, take it or leave it. Again, this show is never going to be about telling you should believe in something. Remember I told you what happened to my mother and I that one night? I wish I could say I remember, unknown, and if you told me, I would be like, oh yeah, I remember. But I hear so many claims and stories that they're all in here, but I don't always have them cataloged to whose they belong to until someone starts telling me, remember I told you about that time? And then they start telling me, and I say, oh yeah, I remember that. But just off the cuff, I don't remember, like, oh yeah, this is so-and-so's story. Usually I just have a collection of things going on in my head, and it takes me being reminded to remember. So, not to mention my own stories. It's like I was thinking, I'm forgetting more than I'll ever remember about the things I've experienced in my life. I want to go back to my childhood home. My mom passed there, and I want to see if she's still there hanging around. I have a lot of theories about this kind of stuff, to be honest with you. Brent, have you interviewed a medium who may have said you got a spirit there or not in your studio? Dave Scott of SOR is said to have 2 spirits in his studio. Yeah, I've talked to people that say that there's a few things around. But I didn't need a medium to tell me that. I actually started experiencing stuff here before I ever had a show, because there's a history to this house. And so, and for many houses I've lived in have had activity. It might be something following me, or it might just be that I bring out the spirits. I don't know. I don't know what it is for sure. Yeah. They was freaking ill. Have to write it down for everyone. It's so damn weird. Love to you all. Love to you, Gay Morgan. Did you just come in, Gay, or are you leaving? Or I hope you're just coming in and you're just going to hang out now. But thanks for coming in, Gay. It's great to meet you, and thank you for giving the show a shot. I hope you stick around and get subscribed, of course. Then you can be officially part of our very large and paranormally dysfunctional family. But we're all weird here, but that's the way we like it. So, I thought I had something happen to me last week, but I doubt it. Why? Here's the thing. I think that, honestly, I believe that most people probably have experienced a ton of different paranormal stuff. It's just that a lot of people aren't really sure what to make of it and probably dismissing it. And it could be just as simple as, well, how'd my keys get there? I know I don't put my keys there. Why would they be there? You know, and that could be a paranormal event. It could be something showing you that it's there. But most people just chalk it up to, I don't remember doing that, but there they are. Well, okay, there's my keys. So, and it could be a lot more profound than that. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to through the years, like, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time, and they'll go on to tell me this is the most amazing spiritual activity story, but yet they still default to, but I don't believe in ghosts. I don't know what that was. Well, maybe it's a ghost. Maybe just, it's okay that could be what it is. The thing with ghosts and spirits is, you know, it could be any number of things that are doing it. It doesn't have to be a formerly living person. It could very well be potentially the fact that we actually live in a reality where we're not able to perceive all of what is here. And those things that we don't have the mechanical facilities to observe doesn't mean they're not here, but we may experience them as ghost-like entities. They might be in a different light spectrum as us, and therefore we can't observe them unless, you know, somehow our pineal gland suddenly fires up and then we see an apparition or a shadow or something. Or it could be things from other vibrational realities that can traverse and come through and then go. It could be formerly living people. It could be any number of things that we experience as ghosts. You know, we use that term. It's such a blanket term. But the other part that I think about is that, again, getting back to the story, I want to go back to where my mom passed away to see if she's still there. I don't know that even if a haunting was due to a formerly living person, if that is the case, is it possible that it's a fragment of the formerly living person? Like your mom's soul probably went home, but is there some things that couldn't go into a divine vibration? Because, you know, we all have luggage that we carry. And in order to traverse into the next world, maybe we got to shed that stuff. So maybe that stuff gets left here and can be sentient in its own right, or at least have awareness, and can interact and be present in a space, but is maybe really not who we think it is. It might have just been some old part of them. Kind of like a person with substance abuse. Well, they when they're in this substance abuse thing, they probably have all kinds of things going on with them and going wrong with them. But then they get help, they get treatment, and they change themselves. But maybe those other parts then that were a part of the abuse cycle and the dysfunction of that get shed as they get healthy. They cast off this old stuff. But does that old stuff linger? And can it potentially develop an awareness or a consciousness of its own? Maybe, because I believe in things like egregores, which are, you know, people creating phenomena through expectations, whether intentionally or inadvertently, that some locations have hauntings because so many people believe there's a haunting of something there. And so that something appears and seems to validate and substantiate the haunting, but it might have been created by the people looking for it. Just with their fear, with their expectation, with their anxiety, with all of these energies getting dumped into a space. So again, it's a big rabbit hole of possibilities, but I think it's important. And no, dreams aren't always just dreams. I think that sometimes dreams are us experiencing our multidimensional self a little more. I think it may be very validly indicating other parts of our reality that we're not consciously aware of. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing some ideas here as we're talking, but these are definitely things I've thought about for a long time. So, but whatever the case. Oh, there's Rachel. Hey, Rachel. Get special experimental eye drops. It worked out well for that dude in the old movie, The Man with X-Ray Eyes. Supernatural Station podcast comes in and says, agreed, Brent, you got a lot more skill than we give ourselves credit for. Yeah, absolutely. I think so, brother. I think so. That's Jaron and Roman. I'm not sure which one I'm talking to here with Supernatural Station podcast, but whichever one, good to see you, brothers. Gay Morgan says, my husband always puts even the most unexplained things my husband always puts even the most unexplained things down to dreams. Expansions of wood or building materials or rodents. My daughter puts it all down to time shifts. Oh, interesting, Gay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that people will always aggressively defend their paradigm, because that's our paradigm is our understanding of the world around us. And when something happens from the paranormal, it oftentimes just throws all that on its head. It's like, oh no. And suddenly the world is uncertain and unknown, and it's maybe very terrifying for some people. So they will desperately cling to some mundane explanation, because then they can return at least partially back to that security of knowing the world around them and feeling like they understand it. But yeah, I think it's a tough sell. Elena Blavatsky said that she created her own tulpa as a servant while she was in Tibet, then lost control over it and had trouble dissolving it again. Yeah, I believe that. There's actually, so there's tulpas, and that is a creation of some kind of energy of a person. A person will manifest a tulpa. And usually those aren't a physical manifestation in their own right, or even a spiritual manifestation, but more of an energy manifestation. Then there's egregores, which are created by groups of people, and that can be by ritual. I think a lot of occultists do what they can to create egregores. Sometimes you'll find out in like devil worshiping locations, there will be allegedly guardian demons, but those are more than likely egregores that were created by people to sit there and look after the space. They can also be inadvertently, just again, the hotel with the jilted bride ghost, and people see the jilted bride ghost, but historically there's no precedent for any bride ever dying in the hotel. And doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it could just be an egregore or a manufacture of people expecting to find it, maybe through even through just very popular ghost hunting locations, people coming in looking and expecting. People manifest. I think we very much manifest. And then there's a third kind. And the third kind is called a servitor. Servitor. And a servitor is a magical creation. And I don't mean got the rabbit in the hat magic. I mean traditional, true esoteric practice magic. And a servitor is basically like a conscious spell. And it might be kind of like what curses are. They're kind of a servitor. When you curse an item, and whoever picks it up will become dealing with your curse that you've placed on it. Or it could be an entity that is created through that manifestation, and it is basically a conscious spell. And it will go and do what it was supposed to do. So those are the different kind of various I don't want to say artificial ghost manifestations, because that doesn't mean they're not real in their own right, but more manufactured by virtue of us being creators, you know. So anyway, that's just a little bit of background on some of that. If anybody's interested, I don't know, maybe I just spout off too much and you guys are like, what? Get through the stories. But anyway, I know Grandizer probably is. So anyway, had to drink a little bit of water. Be careful what you create, people. Absolutely. And it's another reason why I think it's important to... Oh, Deb's going? Good night, Deb. Aw, Deb. I didn't even see Deb come in. Which Deb? We got Deborah Neighbors here. And did we have Deb Varner? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, no, I learned a lot from the show. Thank you. Oh, good, Sinfully the Wicked. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I have that earworm in my head. I don't know which one, but I don't want it, so I'm not going to ask for any clarification. All right. That was the first... Oh, Deb Varner. Okay. Well, good night, Deb Varner. Love you. I'm sorry. I'll have to give you a call. We should talk again. It's been a long time. I miss Deb Varner. All right. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, Deb is the Paranormal Portal psychic. She's used to always... Oh, don't do it. You did it. Unknown. What'd you do? You didn't have to tell me. I didn't want to know. Damn it. You know what's happening in my head right now? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I wish I knew what song you hated. I would bring up that song, whatever one you don't like. Brandon, it's okay. You're staying on the topic. You get time to get to the others. I like when you get all the topics you want to cover. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Unknown, I owe you one. And believe me, when I find out what kind of music you hate, yeah, paybacks are a bitch. That's all I'm saying. All right. It wasn't that song. Oh, it is now. That's the one in my head. It doesn't matter if that was the one or not, but it is now. That's the one that's coursing through my head, and I hate that freaking song. I hate it. I never liked it. I listened to a lot of Baby Shark. I had a kid that was growing up during Baby Shark. I heard the hell out of Baby Shark. I hate that little shark. Don't! Rachel, what the hell? I don't need that one either. Oh, you said tulpas. I always learn something new when I watch you, Brent. I love this show. I love that. Yeah, I made it live today. I love that you did too. Thank you, Gay. I'm hoping you make it live to more of these. And no more earworms, guys. You don't realize the noise in my head all the time anyway. And then when you give me Baby Shark and Tiptoe Through the Tulpas and Tulips and shit, I'm sorry, but that's just like it's like I'm being waterboarded mentally. You guys are killing me. I just want you to know that. Sorry for the language, but those damn earworms. I got to think of something I like quick. You guys are killing me. Damn it, Unknown. I'm not even going to read chat until you guys stop. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to just read articles. What time we got? Jesus, it's time. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do it. It's that time of the night. And by God, we're going to do it because we got to get to this before the end of the journey. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cryptid Corner. There we go. Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen. And it doesn't matter what other song you bring up. I got Baby Shark going through my head again. God, I don't like that song. I wish I'd written it because it's been heard like billions of times around the world. But anyway. Oh, God. I didn't need that tonight. I'm going to have to crank some Alice in Chains after this just to get something else in my head. All right. I always got a soundtrack going on in my head, believe it or not. And right now it's Baby Shark, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Stop. No more talk about it, please. I'm trying to focus. We're going to get to the cryptid corner. There's one. Now, as you know, first of all, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I put a lot more effort into the thumbnails promoting each of these live shows. And I don't know if it'll help draw in more people or not. I was advised to do that by a company that, talks to creators and helps them strategize. They're like, yeah, you really need to work on your thumbnails. So I've been working really hard on it, but I found a story and I was like, oh, I want to make a thumbnail of that tonight. And it was kind of a lizard man story. Now, I haven't read it yet, but I just thought, well, a lizard man would be a cool story. And I thought we would get into this because this is also from phantomsandmonsters.com, which, again, a great, great site. And God bless you, Lon. You are the man. This one has to do with a lizard man. Lizard man humanoid encountered at family's hunting cabin. Now, these kind of stories don't come up too much, but we last show, we did 2 cryptid clashes where there was a crocodile man that clashed with a dog man, and the dog man won. And then there was a Bigfoot that did battle with this white lizard man, which was apparently in Washington State. Never did see who won that one, but I'm thinking it was probably the Bigfoot, but I don't know. Again, oh God, Chucky, you didn't do that too. What the hell? Do you guys even like me? I'm not even sure right now, to be honest. I'm not sure you guys even like me. You're doing it. I looked at the chat and it was, I'm blue, da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. Oh, all right, lizard man. So I saw this article about a lizard man. I was like, well, we don't see a lot of these. Let's dive into this and find out just what this story is. So it happened at a family's hunting cabin, and Lon posted this November 19th. So it's a brand new post. Family and a friend are at a hunting cabin, and the witness and his grandfather heard something moving around the outside. And later, while investigating the noise, they encountered a lizard-like human. I received the following account from a reader. I wanted to share my encounter I had in 1999 at the end of August. My dad, grandpa, and best friend and I were at my family's hunting cabin. No location was provided, and it had just turned dark, and my dad and friend left to go get fishing bait we forgot to pick up earlier in the day. Well, as they were gone, Grandpa and I were talking in the cabin living room when something on 2 legs came walking up the porch steps. Well, it was loud enough for my grandpa to hear it. Even with his hearing aids, he could still hear, and he said, "Looks like we got company." So I walked over to the door and opened it, but there was nothing there. And we didn't hear anything leave the porch, which was weird, and I guess the creature was jumping over the porch rails somehow. And Grandpa said, "I know someone was there," scratching his head, and when again we heard something come back up the steps on the porch. And this time it opens the screen door to get to the main door. When I grabbed Grandpa's .357 pistol and aim it at the door, and while this thing is turning the knob on the main door, I holler out, "I will shoot you through the door if you don't announce yourself." Well, strangely enough, it let go of the door handle. It was a matter of that door moving inches of shooting through it. So I walk over to the door with the gun aimed at it to open it to see what the heck is out there moving around. I pulled the door open, ready to shoot someone in the face. And once again, nothing there. But I see the headlights of my dad and friend coming back with the fishing bait. Well, I shut the door and turned to tell Grandpa that I saw nothing but my dad coming back. Grandpa starts freaking out, telling me I've got to go out there and tell my dad we have an intruder wandering around. So I open the door as they're pulling into the driveway and walk out there in the dark to tell them what is going on. They started laughing at me like I was joking, but I said, "Would Grandpa give me his .357 to come telling you all this crazy stuff?" Grandpa tells me to tell my dad what happened to us, as he tells my dad in the kitchen. As I'm telling my friend, Sure enough, here comes the thing again, up the steps. My friend grabbed the 357 and ran out the door, and I followed with a Jim Bowie knife and Grandpa's military flashlight he used in the Korean War. I had the blue lens on. As I got outside and shone the light on this thing, it stood about 6 feet tall with an impressive physique of about 180 pounds with no body hair. It looked like a lizard man. It was grayish blue in color, but he's using a blue flashlight, so is that why it looked grayish blue? My friend shot over its head. We stopped chasing it where the property line stopped. This humanoid ran incredibly fast in the dark, down a mountainside towards the river, faster than any animal I'd ever seen in my life. My friend and I sat up all night that night, never seeing or hearing anything, then or the rest of the trip. I'm the only one left alive who was there that night. My dad, grandpa, and friend have passed since that incident. I thought I would share this with you while I'm still around. I was 18 years old when this happened. Wow. That's crazy, huh? I also wonder if it wasn't there the other 2 times too, but maybe he just couldn't see it, but it was by virtue of using that blue light that he was able to make it out. Again, it's shifting spectrums, right? So maybe there's something with that blue light that he was using that made him able to perceive it, whereas with the natural ambient night light, he just couldn't see it. I don't know if it's an issue of transparency like that or not, but that's pretty crazy. I don't know, but what do you make of that? First of all, what do you think about these lizard people? Do you think, and I'm doing a poll here in the chat, so I want you guys to participate. I don't think I've heard of Lacertophiles. It doesn't sound familiar, Cal. Do you think that these lizard people are most likely extraterrestrial, or are they extra dimensional? And it's just a guess. Again, it's kind of like question of the week. We just don't know. But, or are they just out of phase with us? Like they've been here all along, and they're one of those things that maybe exist in a state that we can't readily observe them. But again, he made sure to point out that he grabbed his grandpa's Korean War flashlight that had 3 different colors, red, white, and blue. And he was using the blue and was able to see it, but the other 2 instances where they went out to see what the hell was making the noise, there was nothing there. So was it by virtue of the blue light? And maybe that's, to me, suggests that E.T. in Origin Aussie says, I think E.T. Sinfully Wicked says, could be. Lacerda is a female reptilian who spoke to Swedish people over a number of years. She claimed to be an Earth reptilian, native reptilian. Okay, Kel. Yeah, cloaking or shifting spectrums. Gay says, yeah, exactly. Lizard dudes. Yeah, thank you, Maggie. It just occurred to me when I was reading it. It's like, that's what I look for in all of these stories. And that's why I say that every story teaches me something, is because just the virtue of them using the blue light and seeing it, able to, chase after it, give chase and see it. That's got to be a result of the blue spectrum. So, I don't know. Maybe have a tricolor flashlight when you're hitting the woods, folks. You can use red, blue, or white. Maybe that's a big key. Oftentimes people hear the footsteps in the woods from Bigfoot. They look, they can't see it, but it sounds like it's right there, but they can't see it. What if they had a different spectrum lights available, like red, blue, or green? And would that show us what they couldn't see with their eyes? Are the Bigfoot maybe just out of phase with us most of the time? I don't know. Just ideas, but these are the breadcrumbs. These are the breadcrumbs that I pick up from these stories. Things to try, things that might actually help researchers come up with more evidence, come up with at least visual evidence. 90% of Bigfoot encounters are auditory, or something being close, but they couldn't see it. Type A encounters are exceptionally rare. that somebody actually sees the being. So I don't know. I think that's fascinating. Extra-dimensional reptilian beings in the tunnels, the ones that eat people, my guess could be Supernatural Station. Who is it, Jaron or Roman? Who is Supernatural Station? I'm thinking Jaron. Is that you, Jaron? If you've probably said it 3 times now, and I just haven't seen it. Because great story, Brent. I've heard of lizard people, but not that from credible sources. Yeah, it's hard to say. Squatch Talks. I don't know. It's hard to say. Extra dimensional Chucky says, out of phase. Rachel says they live in the tunnels under the earth. I've heard of those stories too, Gay. Yeah, that's L.A. apparently has quite a few of them under L.A. in the tunnels around there. Other dimensions could host color spectrum we don't have here. Yes, true. I think dimensional, very good, Phil. Alien underground dwelling reptoids could be SoCal. Yeah. It's just interesting, and I again, there's no wrong answers. Every one of your ideas are fascinating. I just think it's really cool. Great story. Reptilian, humanoid, lizard, people, extra dimensional, at least with the ones that were said to be encountered in the Vietnam War and the devil creatures of Quang Binh. That's interesting. Grandizer. I don't think I'm familiar with that story, but I'd love to learn more. If you find a link to it, let me know. Just email it to me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'm not familiar with that story personally. But yeah. Las Vegas as well. Okay. Yeah, I think I've heard of some from that region too, but it definitely seems like the West. If they exist here, but again, I don't know if they exist here, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either, unknown. But it does come up. It happens. People have seen these things. I think it was Monsters and Mysteries in America. They were doing a reenactment, and it was a guy out walking his dog, or a woman. I don't remember which, a man or a woman. But I think it was a woman, and she was walking near her apartment in the parking lot with her dog, and suddenly she saw these weird hunched over creatures. And then they started coming towards her, and she could see that they were little, like 3-4 foot tall lizard people, and they were coming at her, probably targeting the dog. But she grabbed her small dog and jumped into the bed of a pickup truck, and they were kind of around, like, threatening her, like they were going to come up there. And then I think some guy came out with a pipe and started chasing them, and then they ran off. But then apparently they were seen ducking down into a sewer, and then apparently going down the tunnels. So, and that was in LA. So yeah, that's creepy as hell. Brent, I'll post it in the Discord. Yeah, that's fascinating. I don't think I've heard that story, but I'd love to hear more about it for sure. So at any rate, that's the reptilian story that I pulled up. Fascinating story for sure. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. We're going to go over to Sasquatch Chronicles and touch on one of Wes's stories here, dealing with, I believe, the Bigfoot, but let's see what's going on here. This is Sasquatch Chronicles blog, another amazing site. Wes is always updating this. Please support what he's doing. A lot of you are listeners of his show already. I'm a listener of his show all the time too. Not nearly as much as I'd like, but I do turn on his show when I'm just here creating stuff. It's very relaxing. And it brings me back to the days before I had a show. I listened to Sasquatch Chronicles on a headset for literally years. Just, Wes got me through all of my cubicle life, working in a cubicle. I hated working in a cubicle, but I could just put on my earbuds and just dive into website development and stuff. It was great. I just loved it. So I still love listening to Wes when I'm doing stuff. So anyway, let's get to this one. And Wes works really hard on his blog as well as his show. So if you're only catching the show, you're missing a lot more that he's offering. And anybody can go there. Again, it's SasquatchChronicles.com. Just check out the blog. You can go back. You'll go back through thousands of postings that he's done over the years. Just exceptional. Love his show 100%. You and him are our inspirations for sure. Aw, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. What's that show? Unknown. You don't know Sasquatch Chronicles? Oh, you've been missing out, brother. There's some amazing Sasquatch encounters that Wes has talked to incredible experiencers. And it's such a well done show. Literally, we're all trying to keep up with the quality of what Wes does, because nobody does a show like him. I'm doing the best I can, but I'm not sure anybody competes with Wes. He's just in a league of his own. But anyway, November 20th, it's today old. The person behind him was all in black. I was just pulling your shark legs. Don't say shark. Damn it, I don't need that in my head again. I'd gotten rid of it. The person behind him was in all black. A listener writes, February 2022, I was in the Adirondacks for a Valentine's Day getaway with my boyfriend. And we're outdoor enthusiasts, and we just love to hike, rock, and ice climb. Well, this particular weekend was low-key for us, as I was recovering from COVID, so we were pretty local, and decided to check out some property for sale that had a rustic hunting cabin on the site. Well, this happened in the heart of the Adirondacks, and we went down a dirt road and had to park on the side of the road. No driveway, no trail. It was just a bushwhack straight up to the side of a huge hillside. Well, this happened on a Sunday morning. My boyfriend told me to stay behind near a huge tree, knowing I was still tired out from COVID. And he went up the hillside and said when he sees the cabin, he'll come back to the ridge to call me up. Well, he proceeded with our 92-pound Labrador all uphill in the crunchy snow. I stayed put at the tree and snapped some shots of the area with my phone. There were ridges to the front and back, and he was gone about 10 to 15 minutes. Well, at that point, I saw him walking up on the ridge to get to an area where he would call me. And there was someone walk around about 20 feet behind him. Well, I thought, he found someone else looking at the old cabin. But the person was not walking with him, but behind him. I know my boyfriend, as he was so high up on the ridge, and he had on a light gray fleece and dark gray pants. The person behind him was all in black. I never thought to look at the real details, but he appeared to be in completely black, including his head. My boyfriend is a little over 6 feet tall, and I'd guess this person was about the same. They walked behind a huge group of boulders, and I got the awful feeling that what if he didn't know that person was behind him, and this person was up to no good? And then I thought, what should I do? Well, soon my boyfriend reappeared and called to me to make my way up the hillside. This person who had been behind him was now gone. I said to my boyfriend, "Who's up there with you?" And he said, "No one." Why? So I climbed the hill, and we went to see the cabin, which was about a quarter-mile away. It was an unlocked small cabin, abandoned and so old, animals clearly could be in there. We walked the same path my boyfriend had taken, and there were no other footprints in the snow. He told me that no one was up there with him. And by the way, the huge Labrador we had would definitely noticed and heard anyone walking behind. I've never forgotten it. Was it a Sasquatch? I haven't forgotten it and was later freaked out thinking it all over. Well, oddly, I'd taken pictures from my phone standing and waiting. I never had the sense to photograph what I was watching. I sure wish I had. I really don't share this with anyone, just my kids and my sister, of course. I can't even say it was a Sasquatch. Oh, it's interesting. There was no other prints, though. And if it was about 6 feet tall, but there was no prints, maybe it wasn't really a person there. Maybe it wasn't a physical thing there. Generally speaking, Sasquatch usually leave prints, even though they may suddenly stop and disappear if they go incorporeal or whatever you want to say. I don't know. But very interesting. So that's a first story from Wes Skirmer's SasquatchChronicles.com. Great story. I don't know. It's a confusing one. I'm not sure what this person saw following her boyfriend, but again, if it was a Sasquatch, even the dog would have probably alarmed. You know, I just can't. I mean, certainly Sasquatch can sneak up on us all day long, and we just don't seem to be aware of it. But they don't like dogs much, and I think the reason they don't like dogs much, for the most part, is because the dogs can hear and see them just fine and sense them. So they can't really sneak up the same way. So I think they take out dogs because it's like our early warning system. It's like, oh, we can't sneak up on that house. There's a bunch of dogs there. But I think they might take them and maybe eat them, but they like to take out dogs first. All right, here's the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And this one has to do with a Mississippi property from November 19th. A listener writes, I've hunted the same 600 acre block of woods, in northwest Mississippi for 35 years. My now grown sons and I have all had weird encounters with what we believe to be a troop of Sasquatch. It's just part of our outdoor experience. We know they're there during the late fall and early winter. Interesting that they're only there during that time. That definitely echoes what I believe is that they probably have a pretty huge range that they cover throughout the course of a year, and certain times of the year they'll be in different parts of that range. It's not really a migratory pattern as much as it is a circuit of opportunity that they establish, I think. So that seems to echo what I've always believed. Well, last week, my 26-year-old son was slipping into the woods after dark to replace the batteries in his cellular trail camera. He was using his LED headlight, and when he got to the spot where his camera was, he looked around. There was a rabbit feeding 10 yards away, but further back, maybe 40 yards into the woods, he saw a pair of large green eyes reflecting his light. The eyes at that point were about even with my son's knees. Well, thinking he was looking at a free-range cow or donkey, which we have occasionally, my son drew his Glock and took a couple of aggressive steps towards the eyes to scare the creature away, and added an aggressive grunt. But instead of leaving, however, the eyes rose to the point that they were higher off the ground than the top of my son's head, and he's 6 feet even. My son froze. The creature, without making any vocalization, without even making a sound in the leaves, moved away. All my son could see as it left was a single green eye reflection, like it was looking back as it silently left. Over 100 yards north of this spot, he and I discovered the skeletons of 4 deer and a young calf, all within a 10-yard circle 2 winters ago. Yeah, feeding spot. My other son, several years earlier, was in his mid to late teens. Well, I dropped him off in the pre-dawn darkness to walk into a stand where all 3 of us have had creepy feelings for years. This spot is about 3 miles from where my older son had his green eyeshine encounter. Well, on the way to the stand, my younger son realized that something was paralleling him as he walked. It stayed just outside of the field of his flashlight, and it stepped when he stepped and stopped when he stopped. My son felt that he was being stalked, so a few steps later he spun 90 degrees, dropped to a knee, and shouldered his deer rifle with the full intention of having to defend himself. Whatever was pacing him sprinted away to the north, bipedally, at a speed my son can't even describe. Wow. 3 deer seasons ago, I was hunting that same spot with my hunting buddy. Between the 2 of us, we have 75 years of deer hunting experience. Lots of time in the woods. He and I were set up in 2 ladder stands, 100 yards apart along the east bank of a drainage. It was November 28th in the afternoon, and the temperature was in the low 50s. The breeze was out of the east, and that's going to be important. At prime time, about 4:10 p.m., we heard what sounded more like a big lion roar than anything else, only much louder. It was right behind my stand, about 100 or 125 yards back in the woods across the drainage. I stood up in my stand and glassed the area with my 10x Nikon binoculars, 10-time magnification. The roar was repeated, and I pinpointed the spot where it originated. I should have been able to see at least the legs of whatever it was, but could not. It was directly downhill of my stand. The roars continued every minute or so. Always the same roar, the same volume, pitch, and duration. My hunting buddy and I were texting back and forth. Boar, hog, black bear, gator, nothing made sense. The next roar was exactly halfway between our two scent streams. The creature had moved 50 yards south, and the next roar was directly downwind of my hunting buddy's stand. After a couple roars there, it had moved back north to the halfway point between our scent streams again. After that, it was directly downwind of me again for three roars. It moved back to the halfway point for another roar, then roared downwind of my hunting buddy's stand, and then continued south. The last roar we heard was about a half mile away. Well, the encounter lasted for about 45 minutes, all told. We never saw anything and never heard anything moving on the ground. The conditions were such that had it been even a squirrel on the ground, we would have heard it from our stands. My hunting buddy and I got down and got the heck out of there at prime time during the white-tailed deer rut. No way did we want to be out there after dark. I don't blame you. I don't know what a lion-like roar would sound in person, but louder. That's got to be freaking terrifying. Well, here's the next one. 2 deer seasons ago, I actually recorded on my phone another series of roars. 4 miles to the south, after I had seen a tennis ball-sized ball of light dancing across a pond from me on the way into the deer stand. These roars lasted about 3 seconds each, and I don't think they were directed at me. This creature was maybe a half mile away behind my stand, and I listened to the roars being repeated for over an hour with about 45 seconds between roars on average. And here's the next segment. All of us have seen the lights out there. Our first inclination is always the same. Another hunter or a poacher coming in with the aid of a flashlight, but there's never another truck parked, never a shot fired, never a duck call or a deer call made. Weirdest of all, several years before the lion roar encounter with my hunting buddy, I was walking around the woods after deer season, scouting 10 yards from the ladder stand I was in when we later heard the downwind lion roars. I found a massive white-tailed deer skull 10 yards from the stand. It had been dead for at least 2 years. There was no other bones around it. It was literally on the trail we used all season to get in and out of the stand. We had spent easily 20 to 25 man-hours in that stand hunting for deer. No way was this skull there during the deer season. We would have had to have stepped over it 20 times without seeing it. This skull measures over 170 inches of antler, even after 2 years of shrinking and drying out. On the hoof, it was likely 190 inches. A Boone and Crockett Records book buck. Nobody goes there, especially not after the season is over. And nobody who lives in the Mississippi Delta is going to leave that skull as a prank or a gift. They're going to do what I did, take it to be mounted. Crazy as it sounds, The most logical thing to me is that a Bigfoot, having watched us hunt that spot on numerous occasions, gifted the skull. But who knows? Last season I was hunting in the same spot when the woods fell silent about 30 minutes before sunset. It was creepy. Then I heard a commotion, and 2 does came running past me full speed with their tongues hanging out. And they went past me to the north, then paused and sprinted back south past me. And at no time did I see a buck, coyote, or anything chasing them. I felt like I was caught in the middle of a deer drive, and I left the stand early. Just another day in the Delta. Wes, there's more, but those are the highlights. Wow. That sounds like it would make a great show. That guy's got a lot of stuff to discuss. I'm sure Wes will probably have him on to talk to the guy. I hope he does, because I'd love to listen to that episode. That's incredible. I think that is an amazing, amazing story. But there you have it. Again, once again, special thanks to Wes. Appreciate you letting us use this. Special thanks to Lon. Appreciate you letting us use the Phantoms and Monsters. Amazing sights, both of them. I think I've had bison. Yeah, I thought it was tasty. I hear elk is really good, by the way. I've never had elk, but I got a brother that hunts elk, and he tells me how good it is, but never once gave me any elk. So anybody gets an elk, I'm just saying, you want to help a podcaster out. I do take elk donations or moose. Here, moose is even better. I don't know what's delicious or what's not. I mean, I just like meat. I like meat. Ooh, meat. Yeah. So that maybe didn't sound right at all now that I think about it, but it's immortalized in the YouTube and Rumble archives for whatever eternity that means. Got a elk out a living. I see what you did there, Chucky. Boom. Giving you a rim shot for that one, brother. Well, there you go. I think it was fun. There's no moose in Texas. Is that right? I don't know. I'm surprised to hear that there's moose in a lot of places. I wouldn't think there is. There's moose out here. Hell, I had one out a few winters ago. Don left the studio. There was a moose right next to him eating on my plum tree. And he came back and said, "Hey, you got a moose out in your yard." Sure enough, it was just out there. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a little dangerous. But then Don decided he needed to go home, and he walked right by it anyway. That was pretty cool. But I got some pictures of that. I think I posted it out on social media. Brent, has there been a person that you, Lon, and Wes have interviewed that pertains to stories such as these? Do you believe their story? It's consistent. Yeah, I believe the story I just read. I do. I think I really trust. Here's the thing. An average person taking a walk in the woods, they may or may not be familiar with the woods. But when a hunter tells you that they saw something they can't explain, I really do trust that, because these are people that go into the woods a lot, and they love the outdoors. They go out to their, these hunting families and stuff. They know the areas, they know the land they're hunting. And when something happens that just doesn't fit, it's just so far out of the norm, and they're like, oh my God, that really grabs my attention. Now, I believe any witness, don't get me wrong, but there is always the question, well, does this person really know? And you do have to ask that question if you're going to be at all objective. But with hunters, I do trust when they say they've seen things. I really trust it. Like Chucky Danger, our own Chucky Danger. He's seen some stuff. And I trust him implicitly that what he's experienced is very real. Chucky knows the woods. He's up in BC, man. That's the real woods up there. So, yeah, I do. I mean interviewed at different periods of time. I do. I don't know that I have. At least I don't know. I can't answer for Wes or anybody else. I don't know who they've interviewed or how often. I mean, I know Wes generally doesn't do a lot of repeat interviews. But generally people come onto a show to share their Bigfoot experiences, and usually one episode is plenty to cover that. So I don't know if he's ever had someone back to cover more stories or not, to be honest with you. I can't recall hearing a guest more than once, unless you count Merkel, but I don't think that really counts. Merkel doesn't count as a guest. No, not really. Tony's always doing things, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey anyway, and had a good time here. I had a good time bringing you here, and we are wrapping up our journey through the portal tonight. Again, special thanks to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for recommending the show. Thanks for letting other people know. If you guys are doing that, that really means the world to me. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, then please do recommend the show. If you're, feel free to post any of these episodes anywhere you want. I'm not I mean, it's a huge help to me. I don't advertise the Paranormal Portal. I don't expend resources and budget to put out ads and stuff out there about it. What growth we have is just people finding us or people recommending us. So if you want to help me out, that's one way to do it. That shouldn't cost you anything. And it really means the world to me. I really want to see this continue to grow because I really have a lot of visions for what I want to see it become. But it's unfortunately, there's always hurdles with all of that. And I've got to make a lot of things happen. And I don't have the budget to make a lot of things happen. So I'd love to say I had that Merkel money, but it hasn't happened yet. So it hasn't happened yet. But anyway, guys, that's the journey tonight. Gay, thank you for coming in. It's nice to meet you. Great making the live today. Sending love to all in chat and to you, Brent. Thank you. Love you too, Gay. Thank you. I got a new video for Brent coming soon. Awesome, Unknown. I appreciate that, brother. Brent, maybe the only one that I could think of is Kevin and the Glag story. Yeah, I had him on the show a few times. Kevin was a good guy. I'm sorry to say he's passed. He passed away. He had a lot of health problems, but he was a wonderful guy. Brent, you got to sing Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. It means no worries for the rest of your day. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. All right, that's it. I gave you a little song. So I'll be back on Friday night, and hope you guys will be here then. I think Sheldon will be here, so hopefully that'll be it, and hopefully you'll be here as well. Again, if you're new to the show, you can sing on the side to get that extra cash. All the music on the portal is music that I've written, so I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Sheldon will be back on Friday with me, and I hope to see you guys here. So until then, remember, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Until next time, I'll be here turning the lights on Friday night. I hope you'll show up. Until then, take care. Have a great rest of your week. And again, happy hump day, everybody. All right, see you next time. That's it. I'm rolling the credits. It's all over. I'm sure it's Friday. Friday, damn it. Donate till it hurts. God bless you, Grandizer. All right, I'll check out the Lacerda files if I think of it. Cal, thank you for that recommendation. That's all I got. Good night. My credits didn't work. I hit the button and nothing happened. Let me do it manually, shall we? Let's see, where is that credits? I just can't find them. No. My God, where are they? Don't know why my buttons aren't working. They were working. They worked through the whole show and then suddenly decided not to work. They just quit working. So I'm still going. Looking through my list of scenes. All right, instead of credits, we'll do this. Are you ready? Oh, here it is. I found the credits. Good night, everybody.